Okay, everybody, go watch these films before I talk about them. Also, you probably don't really need to watch them because I won't spoil them. And also, there's probably some construction signs in the later half, oh my god, of this video, so sorry about that. Plants are freaking sweet. No, seriously, go look at a plant. That little guy is literally keeping us alive by releasing oxygen, all while just chilling there without a care in the world, watching the seasons pass by, all while giving off a sense of total peace. It's no wonder there are so many poems written about them. But we ain't need to talk about that boring stuff. Get it out of here. We're talking about plants in film. Plants, or just nature in general, is a pretty powerful storytelling tool. When done correctly, a writer can pack so much meaning into something so simple as a plant. And today, I'm gonna talk about just that. 3 examples I've noticed of when plants have been used in film. WALL-E is dark. I know it sounds stupid because of the fact that it's a children's film about a robot love story, but when you really look at what's happening in WALL-E, the film starts to seem more like a warning for humanity than a cute animated kids movie. The film shows us the terrible fate Earth may have, depicting the future of the planet to be a barren wasteland completely void of life except for a cockroach or two. WALL-E is showing us what will ultimately happen if humans continue to abuse the Earth and neglect nature. And that's where the plant comes into this. The plot of the movie really begins when WALL-E finds a plant, the only sign of life that's left on Earth. In this case, the plant represents just that, life, growing in a place where there is none. The bright green colour of the leaf contrasting with the dull sandy environment emphasises this idea of life, and also emphasises the importance the plant has in the narrative of the film. The plant becomes an even stronger part of the plot when we see what has happened to humanity, being that they're all big old fat chunkers in floating chairs on a spaceship, who all solely rely on robots and technology to live. And this is where the film also presents the idea of technology taking over humanity. The robots completely control the ship and all the people in it, and with the boom of technology in the 2000s and around this time this film came out, it's quite clear to see where this fear comes from. The fear of AI and robots taking over while humans are blinded by them. However, this movie isn't all doom and gloom, it isn't one big screw you to the Earth, as it also uses the plant to show a link between technology and nature, being that it's WALL-E, a robot that reunites the humans with technology. This teaches us that it isn't all black and white, it isn't a choice between technology or nature, but rather that there should be a balance, and that we have room for technology as long as humanity don't neglect the plants. Leon the Professional is a film that, at first glance, could just be another 90s hitman movie. However, it's so much more. Telling the story of Leon, a hitman living in New York who takes a young girl under his wing after her family is murdered. And sure, this film may unintentionally dabble in some questionable themes at points, but that's not why we're here today. Oh no. We're here to see some freaking plants. Let's go. A key part of Leon the Professional is Leon's very simplistic lifestyle. Other than being a contract killer, his daily routine consists of buying milk, working out, and most importantly, tending to his plant. A plant that in this film I believe to be symbolic of Leon himself, as when asked by Matilda about it, he explains that the plant is his best friend.
You love your plant, don't you?
It's my best friend. It's like me, you see. No roots.
This idea of the plant having no roots translates directly to Leon's character, as he too has no roots. Throughout the film, we barely find out anything about Leon's past. Outside of his work, he is nobody, completely uprooted from society, and yes, pun intended. The plant is a way for the film to show us that Leon isn't this cold-blooded killer that we're introduced to in the first scene. He has feelings and cares for this plant, which by the way is a Chinese evergreen called the Aglaonema, and maybe it's not spelled the same, but I hear Leon in there somewhere. Aglaonema. Aglaonema. This just emphasizes the idea that the plant represents Leon and his life. Aglaonema. Sorry. But the plant doesn't only represent Leon's character, it also represents the character of Matilda, as she too has no root. After her family is murdered, she has nowhere to go, and only Leon to look after her. Because of this, her character becomes more like Leon and more like the plant. Matilda also is connected with the plant as Leon cares for her, similar to how he cares for the plant. Jesus Christ, I said plant a lot. Hell, I mean there's even this scene where Leon chases Matilda with the spray bottle he uses for the plant. I believe this scene to be in here to both show that Leon is human, but also tie a connection between the care that Leon has for both Matilda and the plant. The film ends with Matilda planting the Aglaonema plant outside of her school, saying,
I think we'll be okay here, Leon.
In doing so, she gives the plant literal roots while also giving metaphorical roots to her and Leon. Okay, so I don't want this video to turn into one of those dark theory about beloved kids film videos, because while some can be interesting theories, most of them just result in an innocent film being ruined. And trust me, there's enough of these theories about My Neighbor Totoro already. God, I love this film. It perfectly captures the theme of childhood wonder, all while never failing to be such a peaceful watch. But I think you already guessed by now, I want to talk about some plants, more specifically, some trees. 2 to be exact. So let's just start with the first one. At the beginning of the film, when the family first arrives at the house, we are introduced to this huge towering tree surrounded by woods. The father explains that this is a camphor tree, and these trees, also known as the Cinnamomum camphora, are what I believe to be, in this film, symbolic of protection, as it protects both the family living next to it, and it protects the mother who is in hospital due to an unknown illness. The Japanese name for the tree hints at this, as it is and I'm sorry for pronunciation, but whoa, no, I'm not letting my bad pronunciation ruin this video. This is how it's pronounced. Yeah, it's one of those types of trees, which originates from the word Kusuri no Ki, which means tree of medicine, I think. Don't kill me if I got any of this wrong. This is because the tree is used for camphor oil, which can be found in the wood and roots of the tree. An oil that is pain relieving and anti-inflammatory, blah blah blah. Is medicine, okay? So yeah, this tree is symbolic of the protection over the mother as she deals with her illness. And we can even see a poster of a tree, I don't think it's a camphor tree, but it's a tree in a hospital room, which hangs on the wall over her as a symbol of protection. The idea of nature being a protector is all over this film. Just look at how Totoro's little friends use this leaf to hide when scared, or how Totoro attempts to use a leaf as a makeshift umbrella for protection from the rain. Okay, so remember that thing about not wanting to become one of those dark theory videos? Well, I might slip into that a little bit here, but hopefully it doesn't ruin this movie for you, and it just gives you a little different look on what Miyazaki was trying to say, if he was even trying to convey this message. I don't know, this is just how I perceived it. Anyway, the next tree I wanted to talk about is the one that the girls and Totoro create in the magical nighttime scene thing. You see, this may sound kind of weird, but this tree could be symbolism of the atom bombs dropped on Japan in World War II. And I know, it sounds a little, sounds a little dark and a little like, I don't know about that one. However, if you look at the way the tree is shaped and the way it's grown, it has some resemblance of a mushroom cloud. And I can hear you saying, well, that's just what trees look like. And I know, just bear with me for one sec. In modern Japanese culture, we can see how this tragic event has affected art, especially film. Stories such as Godzilla stem from the idea of nuclear weapons causing terrible things to happen. However, My Neighbor Totoro uses this symbolism to teach us that nature is the opposite of death and destruction caused by nuclear weapons and the atom bombs. The tree seemingly sprouts out of nowhere with no warning, similar to the way the bombs were dropped. But instead of death, this tree brings life. It is a thing of creation rather than a weapon of destruction. It brings life, not causes death. So, if there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that you shouldn't neglect nature. If you're fortunate enough to live somewhere where there is lots of it, then get up and go for a walk and admire the beauty of plants. And if you can't be bothered to go for a walk, then why not take a seat and watch some of my other videos? You won't regret it. And as always, subscribe. If you want, you don't have to.
The plants, they are used for video purposes.
Oh!